Rev up your engines! All right, today we're talking Priuses, Toyota Priuses. This is a 2011. They used to be niche cars, but they aren't anymore. The new 2024 Toyota Prius was voted by Motor Trend as Car of the Year 2024. They've been making them over 2 decades. Let me tell you, I think Toyota hit the nail on the head. Not battery electric cars, hybrid, gasoline, battery electric cars. Now the guy bought this thing with 100,000 miles or so. Now he's got 211. And what has he done to the car? Oh, a whole bunch. He's changed the oil and filter, the air filter, and changed the brake pads once. That is it. As we look under the hood, still got the original hybrid system, still has the original hybrid battery. Okay, Toyota knows how to make hybrids. There's no doubting that. And since they sold so many of them, the expense of the hybrid batteries in these things aren't that bad anymore. Used to be the only choice. I was going to Toyota, who only sold new ones. The new hybrid batteries would be anywhere from $4,000 to $7,000, but I looked it up. You can get them for $600 refurbished ones, or you can spend $1,200 and get a refurbished one with a 2-year guarantee on it. It's not the money that it used to be if they go bad, but this has 211,000 miles. It's still got the original hybrid battery in it. They're pretty well made. Now, he admits he drives like a maniac, so he only gets 42 miles a gallon only, right? And it's an old car with 211,000 miles. The new ones can get even better, but you kind of get my drift. They get great gas mileage, and unlike the stupid battery-only electric cars, Toyota Prius hybrids do not have range anxiety. They have the exact opposite. You wonder when you have to buy gasoline because it can go so far because they get such good gas mileage. It's the exact opposite of battery electric cars. Originally, they were seen, oh, there's a fringe car. Oh, the hippie people are going to buy them, la, 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 right? Well, they've gone mainstream. My son's got a Sienna hybrid Toyota, and it gets phenomenal gas mileage for a minivan, right? They're throwing them in everything. Next year, Toyota Camrys are only going to come in hybrid. Toyota obviously hit the nail on the head, while the other manufacturers said, oh, we're all in on battery electric cars. And now the dealers are telling them, please don't send us any more electric cars until we sell the ones we have. Well, Toyota is in the exact opposite position. They can't make the hybrids fast enough. For a while, if you wanted a Toyota RAV4 plug-in hybrid, you had to wait a year to get one because they can't make them fast enough. People like them. It makes sense. You got no range anxiety, and something like a Toyota RAV4 plug-in, that's even different because you can drive up to like 55 miles on electricity alone. A guy brought me one a couple weeks ago, and he said he'll often drive at 55 miles on electricity alone. You go to highway speed, 60 miles an hour. So you get to try out an electric car. And then when the electricity's gone, instead of saying, oh man, range anxiety, what am I going to do? Well, guess what? The gasoline engine turns on, and then you can drive another 400 something miles. So you don't have range anxiety. If anything, plug-in hybrids will be a transitional phase, not fully electric cars. But you do have to realize one thing with a plug-in hybrid. They have a much larger battery, which costs a lot more money, and it weighs more. They don't give as good gas mileage. And unlike this Prius, where the battery is sealed under the back seat, where it's safe from the elements. All the plug-in hybrids I've ever seen and electric cars have the battery on the bottom of the car, where the salt gets to them in the winter and can short them out. Look at that big hassle they had in Quebec, where Toyota had to fix a bunch of those hybrids because it shorted them out, even though they said, well, that's not part of the drivetrain, it's not under warranty, blah. The Canadian government made them fix it for the owners or pay them for repairs they had done. So you think about that. If you're thinking plug-in versus regular hybrid, a lot of people will just go regular hybrid. You're going to pay a lot more money. It's going to get a little bit worse gas mileage. And when the battery does go out, hey, it's 4 or 5 times what this battery costs because it's a gigantic battery. And its maintenance is much higher than these. Because think of the maintenance of this thing. The guy bought it used. Now he's got 211,000 miles, and his maintenance was one brake shop and some oil changes. That's not much maintenance, right? You're better off with just a plain old hybrid if you want lower maintenance. If you get a quality one, you know, I mean, there's no way in Hades that I'd go out and buy like a French hybrid or something like that. But Toyota pretty much wrote the book on building hybrid vehicles correctly. And yeah, he took a gamble buying one with 100,000 miles on it. But now he's got 211,000 miles on it, and it's still running perfectly fine. And like I said, you could replace the battery with an $800 reconditioned battery. Or for $1,300, you can get a reconditioned battery with a 2-year warranty. They just go in and out. Anybody that understands electricity can change them out. It is high voltage, so if you don't know electricity, pay a guy to do it. But if you got gloves like I have and you read the manuals where the high electricity is, people can change them if they want. But a lot of these battery companies, they will deliver a Prius battery to your house and they will install it free because there's so much competition that guys are like, hey, we got to sell these batteries. If we install them free, guess what? We'll sell a lot more batteries. So you can always look into that if you need one. But I mean, hey, 211,000 miles, it still hasn't needed one. We're gonna get my big old scan tool, check everything out for me. Yeah, it's got mileage. The seat got torn. It's time for some seat covers, you know. And it still has the original little plastic hub covers on it. And he got a little dinger here, so he put some plastic tape on it. I mean, hey, it's still aerodynamic. Realize this runs a 200-something volt air conditioning compressor. It's not like a normal one in a gasoline car, which has a seal where the shaft spins off the belt. It's using 220 volts, so they basically can last almost forever. They don't have the leakage points that one that runs off a fan belt does. So on top of they can last a long time, you generally don't have to add refrigerant to it, right? This thing's still running on its original refrigerant. They don't leak much because it's a different type of compressor. Be forewarned, he's a plumber, and he keeps his plumber tools in the trunks. That's probably why he only gets 41 miles a gallon. Only. Now, he said he's had some problem once people change the tires with probably his ABS system and stuff, so we'll check all that out. Okay. It's already detected the vehicle. Toyota Prius. You can see it's a Prius North America 2011 2ZR FXE Atkinson cycle engine. And we're going to do a full scan. Topology scan, so here we go. Now, as we look through, you can see it can run in EV mode, not very far. Or you can go eco or power mode. And it's got the little fake gear shift knob for going forwards, backwards, going for battery, or going for regular drive. And other than the seats being warm for people sitting on them, because he's a plumber, it's in pretty good shape. Now it's got 16 codes, but a lot of this stuff isn't going to mean hardly anything. I see it all the time. We knew there was an ABS code, so we'll see what that is. Right rear speed sensor. Yeah, they worked on the car. They probably broke the right rear. If you wanted to fix it, he doesn't particularly care. We'll erase the code, but it will come back because they probably broke the sensor. Came right back because the sensor's broken. So we'll look at the smart key. They often have problems with the smart key. Communication with, yeah, they do that all the time. He never had a problem with it starting, so we'll just erase those things too. And I can just about guarantee you they're not going to come back. Okay, we'll go back, see if it came back, and no, it didn't come back. Now it says it's a problem with the hybrid system, the hybrid control. Let's see what nonsense that is. Brake system. Well, we already know that because the sensor in the back's broken. So we'll erase that too, and that one will probably come back. Let's stay it off for the time being. So, cruise control, that's got a code, and that probably has to do with the stupid sensor too. We'll soon find out. Yeah, it was the sensor, so we'll go on to the next one. Got a bunch of codes for the tire pressure monitoring system. He wanted to know what was going on that because they changed his tires and it came on. Let's see, that probably says a bunch of them aren't working. Data from transmitter 2, 3, and 4 are not received. 1 is not received, so they probably broke them, or they might have even taken the tire stems out and put in non-tire valve stems. So we'll erase it, but I guarantee you they're going to come back because they broke it when they changed this tire. Main body has a code. These are very complex electronic cars, and a lot of stuff you don't really care about. We'll just see what it is for giggles. Driver door motor communication stop. Then there's this code, driver door motor or window, and it works, so do we really care? We'll look at it, but we're probably not going to care. Master switch fault. Ooh, the switch didn't work right at one point in time. But he says it works fine, so who cares? Says the same thing about the left rear door motor, so we'll erase that too. Last but not least, the PDM, the passenger door motor. It's saying there's weird problems with the windows, so Yeah, we're going to erase that too. It'll be another stupid door control. There it is, switch passenger fault. Now we'll look at some data. We'll go to live data and we'll start her up. We start looking at the data here. Battery voltage for the small battery is good. Fuel trim is 1.562. That isn't much, only off a tiny amount. Cat's working fine. Shows you the impedance of the oxygen sensors in ohms. That's wild. Electric water pump speed, the target speed, to see if that's working. You can check it with this machine. And it's got 211,000 miles. There's no misfires. Let's look at the hybrid control. We'll look at the live data for that, because being a hybrid, we can check the electrical system. The temperature of your inverter. That shows the voltage of the battery. Pretty good, 207. It's supposed to be a 201.5 volt battery, so it's still got plenty of voltage, even more than the factory. You can't complain about that. Now this has 14 battery blocks, as you can see. Each battery block is pretty much the same, very close. If one was real low, you know that one needs replacing. But even with 211,000 miles, this thing's in amazing shape. All the blocks are fine. And the auxiliary battery voltage, it's run and it's charged as 14.45. That's good too. Even shows the temperature of the batteries, the different blocks. The internal resistance, if there's a problem with them shorting out, of all the different 14 blocks. So here we go, backwards. No backup camera because it's too old. We got this giant water bump here. Keep the ocean from flooding my neighbor, so we'll go over it nice and slow. All right, here we go. Now, they're small cars with small wheelbases, and the roads in Rhode Island pretty much have been voted the worst roads in the nation, so we'll see how it goes over some of these bumps. Well, actually, it's not that bad. It rides better than my wife's Matrix. The Matrix has got more of a sport suspension. It's actually still quite well, considering it's still got the original struts on it. Boy, they really know how to make these things in Japan. Now those lights are on because that sensor's been broken in the back when the guys changed the tires and stuff. So I mean, that kind of stuff you just ignore. All right, here we go. And we're in eco mode. Now remember this, he wants to get good gas mileage. So we'll see how it goes in eco mode. And here we go. See, look at that! It spun the tires! And you know why it spun the tires? Because with that sensor gone, it has no traction control. So guess what? We got a racing Prius here! We can burn rubber! So it doesn't have traction control anymore. You'd have to fix that sensor if you wanted that. But he kind of likes it. But you can see, you know, they're relatively quick. Especially when you disconnect the traction control. They're pretty snappy. So here we go again. Whee! We're spinning out in the racing Prius. Look at that. So here we have 211,000 miles. And if the guy hadn't broken the sensor on the right rear, all that other stuff would still be working. But actually, he's telling me now he probably thinks he's not going to fix it, because when the traction control worked, he went up a hill in the snow and I had a hard time between hybrid, regular, sliding, not letting him go fast up the hill. And with it disconnected, now he can go up faster. And it's much nicer having a Prius that you can peel out in. So did Toyota hit the nail on the head? Obviously they did with hybrids. If you just follow the market, you watch. I forecast everybody's going to start selling hybrids like mad. Look at the Ford Maverick pickup. They're selling tons of them. And their standard model was a hybrid, but Ford, of course, screwed the whole thing up. Now their standard model is not going to be the hybrid because the idiots don't have a supply chain and they can't get enough materials to build the hybrids. So their standard is going to be the Maverick with just a gasoline engine and not hybrid, because as usual, Ford screws up about everything they get involved in. But Toyota, no, they're smart people. They make good hybrid cars, and you watch, they will take that market over even more than they have already, because they're reliable machines. People like me know how to work on them. A lot of mechanics know how to work on them now, but they don't break much. He bought it at 100,000. Now it's got 211, and he's done nothing but brake pads and an oil change, right? And buying tires, of course, when they wear out. So you're thinking about buying one of these? Hey, maybe not a bad idea if you want to go into the hybrid world and say goodbye to battery electric cars. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.